Asmat Gurubhyo Namaha, Asmat Paramagurubhyo Namaha, Asmat Sarvagurubhyo Namaha. So you have a question?
Wanted to ask you about, okay, so we've gone through Jehwa Muliya. I understand that now pretty much. But once Visarga becomes before Pa, then it's a F song. And then we have done Upadmaniya. That's the correct pronunciation, right?
No, Upadmaniya is the slight F sound. Jehwa Muliya is the slight X sound.
Right. So, okay, so that's the next song. And the other one is for the Visarga before S song, isn't it? So like
the Ranga.
Namaswaha. Yeah, so that's the name I wanted to get for that one. What's the name of it? Ranga?
No. What are you saying? Namaswaha.
Yeah, like for instance, you have a Visarga before a Sa song. Before Sa.
Oh no, that's regular Sandhi. There's an optional Sandhi. There's different types of Sandhi. Okay, this is I believe it's an optional Sandhi, right?
Okay.
But it makes sense. The Visarga at the end of a letter, if it's followed by any of the S's, it optionally changes into that S.
Okay.
So for instance, Om Shanti Shanti Shanti, right? So only the last Visarga is really pronounced Shanti at the end, but the other ones can be changed into the palatal S with the acute accent. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. So that happens like that. But the other S's also. If it's a Visarga followed by a dental S, it becomes a dental S. If it's a Visarga followed by it's very rare, I think. A Visarga followed by a cerebral S, it becomes a cerebral S, and that's optional.
So these muliyas,
for instance, Om Namah Shivaya, which is actually not Om Namah Shivaya, but it's actually Namah Shivaya, right? It's called a Panchakshara, five syllable mantra. Namah Shivaya. So Namaha Shivaya. People don't say Namaha Shivaya. They say Namah Shivaya. So you can either say it without like dropping the Visarga because there's no dunda, there's no punctuation or break. There's no breathing there. So you don't say Namaha Shivaya unless you're breaking the words completely. So you say Namah Shivaya, or you say Namah Shivaya. Namah Shivaya.
Yeah. So basically the Visarga before the Sha, but it will sound like Sha also. So Namah Shivaya.
Yeah.
Like that.
Yeah.
Okay, so first before we do that, the three muliyas. So the Jehwa Muliya, Upadmaniya, and what's the third one? I thought there was a third one.
No, they're not muliya. They're not muliyas, okay? Mula means the root. Jehwa Muliya. Jehwa Muliya, right, means at the root of the tongue. It's pronounced at like at the throat, in the throat. The right? Achtung, like German. Lock.
Like a COVID test, basically.
Like cock lock. Loch Ness.
Yeah.
Yeah, in the back of the throat, or just at the root of the tongue. That's Jehwa Muliya. The other one is called Upadmaniya.
Right.
Upadmaniya, which is Purnamadaf, Purnamidam, right? Tanaf, Naf Pachodayat, right? What is it? Dioyo Naf Pachodayat. Dioyo Naf Pachodayat. But it's only slight.
Okay, so even in Gayatri we have that.
Yeah, even in Gayatri, yeah. Interestingly enough, even in the Ahobilam Mat Ainakam, just as a point of interest, it mentions that according to the Ahobilam Mat Ainakam, they say that even the mantra Om Namo Narayanaya has swarams.
Yeah.
But I never heard that from anybody else. Anyway, they have some pramanas there, I guess.
Okay, so I don't know how long it would take to just teach a Sandhi chart. Do you think the Sandhi chart is very important or should we go through it as a lesson, or you want to do that on a different date?
The Sunday chart. I can teach you how to use the Sunday. The Sunday chart is a very nice one in a book called A Sanskrit Manual by Bucknell. This is the book. Sanskrit Manual by Rob. So it was interesting. I was interested in when we do samskars. Okay, when we do samskars, then we're doing it in Smarta Agni or Griha Agni, right? It's a Griha. They're Griha samskars. Yeah. So what happens? The Griha Agni is made at the time of, at the end of the wedding ceremony, when you do the Griha Pravesh, and when you enter your new house and everything, from the wedding ceremony, there's this Agni which is kept, and the householder keeps that Agni and performs Upasana Homa in that every day. And he has to perform all his samskaras in that also. So what happens if that's not kept? You know, most people who come to you and they say, oh, I want this domestic ceremony, I want this samskar done, I want that samskar done, you know, for my family members. They're not keeping the fire in their house going, but they're supposed to be. They're supposed to be keeping that fire, and they're supposed to be performing those samskars in that fire. So there's a ceremony called Vichinna Agni Sandhanam. Sandhanam, or Sadhanam, I guess, I'm not sure. It means reestablishing. Vichinna means broken. Vichinna means broken. So broken Agni. When Agni's broken, when you lose the Agni, you didn't maintain the Agni morning and evening, it's gone out. You have to reestablish it. So there's a couple of new videos which I thought were really good. Oh, external Sunday charts. You found it. Let me just see. Yeah, see, I did this before. Okay. I did scan the Sunday charts before. Okay, good. All right, so we can go over that. Thank you, Govinachari, for posting that. All right, so what I was going to say was I was looking at videos of Vichinna Agni Sandhanam. So here is a video. Here there's a set of videos. And what I was thinking of doing is going over those videos and putting them up there to show you, because strictly speaking, if a person's going to do this samskaras, he should do it in that particular fire. So he has to reestablish that fire first. So if you really wanted to be correct about doing the samskaras for these people, you would have to reestablish they would have to reestablish their Griha fire first. Smarta Agni, it's called. Or Griha.
So
Yeah.
So would you say, Swami, that in that case, that since 99% of people don't have that Agni, you know, then it's better to do Puranic samskaras or Pancharatrika samskaras? Would you say?
No, see, that's the thing. The people want to do the Vedic samskaras because they've seen their parents and they've seen their community do the Vedic samskaras. So whether those people, if we go through the scriptures, we might find so many rules and regulations that say that they're not qualified to do those samskaras. But still, you know, they want to perform them, so we do them. We do them for them, like that. I mean, if everybody who wanted to get married came to you, right, and said, I want to get married, you know, okay, I've got, you know, my boyfriend or girlfriend or whatever it is, we want to get married. And you look in the scriptures and you say, you're not qualified to get married according to the scriptures. Or you can get married, everybody's qualified to get married, okay? But you're not qualified to get married with a ceremony with Vedic mantras. Right? First of all, there will be a caste consideration. Let's say the people are they're not Brahmins, they're not Dvijas, they're not Kshatriyas or Vaishyas, they're not, you know, right? Kalo Sudra Samam, everybody's born lower than Sudra in Kali Yuga. Okay, so that's fine. But let's say you're coming in a family of Dvijas. Okay, you're coming in a family of Dvijas, but you never took Upanayanam. Or even if you did take Upanayanam, you don't do Sanyavandanam. So you don't keep it up. Or you don't do Upakarma every year. You're not properly a Brahmin, right? And a Brahmin is not, that's the minimum. The minimum you have to do is do Sanyavandanam to maintain your Brahmatva, your Brahmanhood. But you're supposed to be doing all these other things. You're supposed to be doing Agnihotra, Upasana Homa, right? Or, Samhita if you're a brahmachari, but Upasana Homa, if you're Grihastha, Agnihotram is your Shrauta Homa. You're supposed to be doing all these things. You're supposed to be doing the 40 samskaras, all these things. You're not doing all those things. So you're not doing all those things. In what way are you a Dvija? Right? But still, people, they want to do oh no, but we want to do this. We want to have a Vedic wedding, sort of thing. Okay. So most priests around the world, and even in India, if they don't look at the qualification of the people, it's like finding a guru too. You're looking for a guru, right? And you're looking at the qualifications of the guru. But you're not thinking about what are your qualifications? When you approach a guru, he's looking at your qualifications and he's saying, oh, are you worthy to be a disciple? So everybody thinks like that. Whenever they approach a ceremony or something like that, I want to do this ceremony, but they don't think about whether they're qualified to do that ceremony. And the priests, they're doing it, they're doing it as a business basically. I mean, even if they don't need the money, whatever it is, from the dakshina or whatever, still, they're providing a service. They don't say to people, oh, I'm going to send you away because I personally don't think you qualify, I'll tell you a story. One time I was in Europe, and I was in Italy installing the deities in Florence for Bhagwan. And Bhagwan said, we're going to have please do it. You have to do a wedding ceremony. You have to do a vivaha samskar. So, okay, like that. So he gave a lecture at this wedding. He gave a lecture at this wedding, and he said, we only let first-class people get married. If you're not first class, we won't let you get married. Yeah. So afterwards I went to him and I said, in the Bhagavatam, there's this place where Prabhupada says, first class man for a first class woman, second class man for a second class woman, third class man for a third class woman, fourth class man for a fourth class woman, sort of thing, right? In other words, it's in the story of Maharaj Parikshit in the womb or whatever. There's a purport there. And so what Prabhupada's point was, and I'm guessing for first class, second class, third class, fourth class, you could equate that with the varnas, right? But even if you don't equate it with the varnas, the idea is to match people sort of equally, and they get married equally matched. But we don't do a lot of that unless the Indians try to do it still today. They try to do the astrological matching between people, but a lot of times people get married and they're not suited for each other. They're not. But in the Varnashram system, you're supposed to marry somebody of the same Varna. Savarna. Savarna means the same Varna. You're not supposed to marry somebody who's of a higher Varna or a lower Varna than you. Right? Because that, and according to the Manusmriti and different Smriti Shastras, that creates what we call Varna Sankara. Varna Sankara, or the mixing of Varnas. Right? And if we mix Varnas, then we get some other, according to the Smriti Shastras, you get some other type of people when you mix the Varnas as a progeny. And there are two types of mixing. When the husband is of a higher varna than the wife, that's called anuloma. And when the wife is of a higher varna than the husband, that's called pratiloma. And specifically, anuloma is accepted as being okay, not too bad, not the best. But pratiloma is bad. It's not considered to be bad. Okay, so that's something. But anyway, getting back to the point. The point is that people want to engage in different samskaras. and maybe they're not qualified for those samskaras. But the modern priests, we overlook it, or we do some prayaschitta for it, or we do some parihara. There's some loophole that we look for, and we just overlook it, and we do ceremonies what people want to do, like that. Yeah. So we engage in doing that. Yeah. I don't know. I forget what the point exactly was.
Thing is, nowadays people don't even know the difference between Vedic and Puranic, and you could tell them you do a Puranic ceremony and tell them it's a Vedic ceremony, and they'll be happy. They don't have a problem. They don't know the difference. So
yeah, well, no.
A lot of the time here,
some people know the difference. Some people know the difference. They know some external differences. Like you'll get people arguing with you. Oh no, we have to go 7 times around the fire. We can't just go 3 times around the fire or 4 times around the fire. According to Apastamba, and Bodhina, most rituals they have 4 circumambulations of the fire. But then you get people who say, no, we have to go 7 times. If we don't go 7 times, then we're not really married or something like that. But in India, in the Indian legal system, in the penal code, they say that you're married after taking the 7th step of the Saptapadi. The Saptapadi means taking 7 steps together, right? In a particular direction. You're taking 7 steps together, little walk. When your foot touches the ground on the 7th step, that's the time when you're legally married in India. Up to that time, you're not legally married. So they say that.
Yeah, Rami says that from the Hindu sacrament, in his book, The Hindu Sacrament of Marriage, that 7 times comes from Bollywood, actually. But yeah, I've had people come and tell me that too, but I've told them, well, it's Bollywood.
No, I think it's just, I've heard that too, but, I think it's just a misunderstanding that there are 7 steps.
Yeah.
Some people say the 7 steps and they say it should be 7 times round, but those people who say it's 7 times round, do they even know that there's 7 steps? No. So, yeah, there's 7 somethings, and there's 3 somethings or 4 somethings, whatever. And, we can mix it up. So people don't know, but they know something, like they know that there should be Ganesh Puja first, or they know that, they know something. The grannies, the grandmas know something. A lot of time when I did this, I helped Rami do a wedding in Chennai one time. Was it Chennai or Bangalore? I think it was Bangalore. Anyway, in Bangalore, and he said, he very specifically what he did. The first thing he did was he got the 2 grandmothers together from both sides. He got the grandmothers together from both sides of the families, and he sat them down. He said, okay, so are there any little customs and things that you have in your communities that you want to observe specifically that we don't know of? I have a book here which is very interesting. It's written by somebody giving some of these special customs. I have a couple of books actually, giving some of these special customs of different communities for marriages. So you have to know if you don't know, you just ask the people, and you should ask them anyway. Are there any certain special things? Is there a cat? Is there a cat you have to put in the basket at a certain point in the ceremony? That's a joke.
The Masis could be a nightmare in a wedding. So yes, it's a good idea to make sure and meet with the Masis beforehand, because they can be real trouble.
Yeah,
that you haven't done it like this, you haven't done it like that. How come you haven't done it like that?
yeah. So many times, there's some little aspect. People don't like the way you built the fire. People don't like the fact that you didn't pick out every rice grain and make sure it was perfect in your akshara. I could go on and on. Prabhupada mentions it too. He mentions it in purports in Chaitanya Charitamrita. He says, or in Bhagavatam, I'm not sure. He says sometimes our Indian friends will say, "Oh, this was not there, that was not there. There was no Ganga Jal. There was no Ganges water involved. So it's no good. You didn't abhishek. There was no Ganges water, so it's useless or something."
Like I'll ask you with respect to, that some especially North Indians, Gujaratis, they do Upanayanam just before the wedding. They will, because they insist that, you have to do Upanayanam. They must have the sacred thread when they're getting married.
Sure.
So I did one, and I did the Upanayanam first, and then I did the Stambharopana after, which is another main thing that they do. And then the Masis got really annoyed, and they said, no, you're supposed to do the Stambharopana first, and then do the Upanayanam. But it just doesn't make any sense logically. How could you do the Upanayanam represents that you're still a brahmachari, because they have the Samhita Danam and everything at the end of it. And then this Stambharopana is for actually starting the process of marriage and putting the first pillar of the mandapa, So the Masi had a fits, and she was like screaming and all sorts of things because their priests did it the other way last time. So just an example of how crazy it can get with them sometimes.
Yeah, it's all, if you're working if you're doing ceremonies for other people, it's always good to sit down and go through the order of what you're going to do. If they're not interested, if they say, well, we're not interested, we trust you completely, you just do it the way you know everything, do it. Then they can't argue at the end. But if you don't go through it with them and they know something and they want something in this particular order, then then
because
they can criticize.
The Kashi Yatra is supposed to happen after the Upanayanam, isn't it? According to how they do it.
He's got, the idea of Kashi Yatra, right? Raghunath,
Mm-hmm.
You know what Kashi Yatra means, right?
Yeah.
Kashi Yatra is symbolically, it's possible for the brahmachari student to go off to Benares and continue his studies and or take sannyas. And so he's given a scripture to put under his arm, and he's given an umbrella, and he's wearing shoes, and he goes for a little walk. And the father of the bride has to beg him to come back and marry his daughter. And it's just a play, it's a play thing. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And but the idea is the idea is we might have, there's a famous Hollywood movie with Julia Roberts as Runaway Bride, yeah. So the idea is that the people should be, normally the women don't run; it's the guys that run, right? The grooms get nervous and they don't show up for the wedding. They think they're going to lose their independence or something, so they leave. So that happens sometimes. Okay, a lot of times. So just to get the boy to get it in his mind that he has this choice. But here's his choice. His choice is go to Benares and become a lifelong celibate sannyasi, or become a grihasta. That's your choice, basically. What's your choice in Vedic civilization? Your choice is, as a Dvija, let's say, your choice is, or anybody, your choice is you either you remain celibate or you get married. So that's your choice. So if you don't want to get married, right, then go to Kashi and become a sannyasi, like that. So so the idea is to fix his mind. Is once he's he's got this, he can keep walking. If he wants to just keep walking, he can keep walking and leave. And people will be upset, but that's his choice. So the idea is to get him fixed in his mind that no, I've decided not to do that, to go to Kashi and become a sannyasi or continue my studies. I've decided to become a householder. By the way, you can keep studying if you're a householder, right? Yeah. Mm-hmm. Not that you get married and the next day you can't study, right? No, you can, but it's more difficult, of course, because there are so many other things you have to do, right? It's when you're single, you can study easier because you can focus everything on studies. Okay, everybody knows that. So but anyway, the Kashi Yatra is there to focus his mind on this, on taking to Grihastha Ashram like that, and to make sure, he should make sure that this is what he wants, like that. Okay, I guess nobody's asking the girl, because the traditional idea is, I guess they want to get married, because they, otherwise what are they going to do, right? In the Vedic civilization, maybe the girls were not educated so much, and maybe they didn't have any prospects. it was like that in Europe before, you know. If a woman didn't get married, she was like lost in life. There was nothing, you know, there was no idea that women could have a separate career and have their whole life, you know, just devoted to their career or study or whatever. There was no idea like that. The goal of the little girls was always to get married. And to a certain extent in most societies today, it's still very much like that, but not always, you know, and or even for men either in the West. But the traditional Vedic, you know, and or let's say Indian custom was like that. And so it still is there today, pretty much. And so the Kashi Yatra, yeah, has to go after he becomes a brahmachari, like that. Yeah. How does well, becoming a brahmachari means taking the sacred thread. Taking the sacred thread. A lot. Sometimes it's the father of the, because the father of the bride usually pays for the wedding. So sometimes it's the duty of the father of the groom, the father of the boy, to have already done his upanayana, already done his sacred thread ceremony when he's younger, usually younger, because nowadays people get married late, you know, in their 30s or whatever in India. But even if they get married earlier, upanayana is only a possibility according to Dharma Shastra up to 24. Beyond the age of 24, you're not allowed to take upanayana, according to Dharma Shastra, according to Manusmriti. And that even then that's different for different varnas. I think once a Brahmin is more than 16, he can't take upanayana, and he should.
Yeah, that's what I heard.
He should normally. He should not. You can look it up. He should normally take it at age 8, and that means Indian age 8. Indian age 8 means like 7 years and 3 months, basically, because the time in the womb is also counted as life. So when somebody is born in India, that's their first birthday. In the West, it's their first birthday too. So then, but then it's their first birthday in one sense, but we in the West, we say they're 0 when they start life. And then 1 year after they're born, we say that's your first birthday. But in India, that's your second birthday. 1 year after your birth is your second birthday. That makes sense, actually. Your first birthday is when you're born. Yeah, so that makes a lot of sense. And so you'll always hear in Indians expressing but everybody, there's a custom that everybody says their age according to the Western system. So your age according to the Indian system is always 1 year more, you know, or they say, you know, like if you're 5 years old well, we're talking about 7 or 8 years old. So if you're 7 years old, they'll say you're 8 years running. You know, you're in your 8th year. You know, you're in your 8th year. So that's when the upanayana is supposed to be done for Brahmins.
Yeah, so that's basically up to 15 and 3 months then.
Yeah, I guess like that. Yeah. So you have to do it early. So, but all these things, again, different communities. What I was basically saying was the father of the boy is supposed to have done that. So he would have already spent the money to hire a priest to do the upanayana. But if he leaves it and doesn't do it until the guy's 30 years old and he's getting married, or 25 years old and getting married, then he can get the bride's father to pay for it. So a lot of people do that. They lump it in with the marriage and they get the bride's father to pay for it. I'm not saying always. I'm just saying, you know, that's one strategy to get out of, because there's an old saying that Hindus go broke when they get married and Buddhists go broke when they die. So in Buddhism, all the money is spent on the funeral. The funeral is a very important thing. In Hinduism, all the money is spent on the marriage. The marriage is the most important thing, the most important samskara in life. They spend all the money on the marriage. Now, the exception to that is in the kingdom of Bali, the island of Bali in Indonesia, where they have very simple Hindu weddings and they have very elaborate Hindu funerals. In fact, they even do something which is an older form of Hinduism. They used to bury the bodies, and then so if you look at historically, they used to bury the bodies, and then after burying the bodies, they used to dig the body. They bury the bodies for some time, dig them up at another time, and burn them. So that's another system. So there's like three systems. One system is bury, right, which is still going on in the Semitic religions, right? A lot of the Christians and Muslims and Jews, they do that. And then you've got people who bury and then disinter and burn the body. And then you have people who immediately burn the body like that. So in Bali, they do that. They bury and then what they do in Bali is that you've got, because it's a big expense. Funerals are a huge expense in Bali. So what you do is you wait until somebody who's very big and rich and famous dies. And then you go dig up your relatives and get them put into the ceremony with this other guy, this big rich guy who's died. So they all get burned up together. So that's what they do. So you can join in this like a communal cremation sort of thing. Interesting system. It's not usually the system in India. It's not the system in India, but like I said, getting back to the point is that people spend a lot of money on weddings, and they don't spend so much money on the other samskaras. They want those done. But that's why you can charge more for a wedding, and you can get more for a wedding, and it's a more elaborate ceremony. And for instance, one time I went to I was in Chennai, and I went to near the Sanskrit college. There's one Smarta Brahmin who has a small house right near the Sanskrit college in Mylapore. And I went to his house in order to get a little book on how to read Grantha script. In those days, nobody knew how to read Grantha script, and this was the only little book that you could get. And he had published it, and it cost 2 rupees. And it was only available at this guy's house. So he wasn't selling it through bookshops or anything. So if you wanted to know Grantha script, to read ancient manuscripts and things like that, you had to go to this guy's house and pay him 2 rupees and get this book. Okay, so I went there, and first thing I see is his wife is lying on a mat on the front porch because she's out of the house, is what they say, out of the house, which means she was in her ritu, or her menstrual period. And so she was out of the house on the front porch, and I guess they just bring food to her every once in a while. She's out there. Then I went inside and I met this guy, very strict Smarta Brahmin, and I bought his little book for 2 rupees, which I still have, very nice book. And I visited this guy one time for about half an hour, okay, and bought his book for 2 rupees. And he sent me an invitation in 3 languages to my address in Hawaii when his daughter was getting married.
Oh my God.
Okay. Invitation was like gold leafed in Hindi, Sanskrit, and Tamil, in 3 languages. In Sanskrit, the invitation was in Sanskrit.
Wow.
Yeah, and he had a 1 week wedding ceremony for his daughter.
Oh my God.
1 week, full on, all day, all night, sort of 1 week thing.
Add it up, huh?
Yeah, and he had entertainment put on for the people. Yeah, the guests were all fed all day, every day. The entertainment had venues, had these people come in to do, Carnatic singing and different things. It was a real festival, a real thing like that. Unfortunately, I couldn't go because I was in Hawaii, but still he sent me the invitation. But I just was amazed at I was just amazed that that I have had so little contact with this person. This person is not my friend. This is an acquaintance. This is something, I just went to his house one time to buy his 2 rupee book. And that's it, you know? And he, just imagine how many wedding invitations he must have sent out.
Yeah.
So he had my, he had my address, and he said, okay, this guy has got to get a wedding invitation, you know? And unfortunately, it was right around the time when Rajiv Gandhi was assassinated in, was assassinated in Sri Perumbudur, Ramanuja's birthplace. Rajiv Gandhi was assassinated there. Yeah. So it was right around that time, and so there was a lockdown, like we're having sort of today, because of political rioting and things like that. Okay, so and Grimshari is asking, when you're finished, I would like to ask you a question about directions during puja and homa. Yes, directions. Let's talk about directions then. Okay.
So what I wanted to ask is, like we're doing a puja for someone, and we're allowing them to make the offerings to the deities that you invoke. So usually I'll sit facing north and they will sit facing east. And for the homa, then I will generally always face east because I do the Agni Mukham, etc. And they will sit north for that. Is that correct, or do you suggest something differently?
As far as I know, my knowledge, it sounds right to me. You have them face, the best direction is east, and you have them face east. If they're the one doing the thing, and then you can sit in any other direction actually. But if you're facing north, that's the second best direction. So that's good.
Yeah. So basically, if they weren't able to like make the offerings in the puja, like for instance for the avahanam and the pram pratishtha, well, they generally wouldn't be doing that anyway. But I would generally do the pram pratishtha for whichever deity in the kumbha, and then I'll allow them to make the offerings to the kumbha. So like if they weren't doing any of that, well, then I'll probably sit face and do the whole thing and just let them observe, which I guess makes the most sense.
Right, but at the same time, be practical. Like if they're going to do one part of the thing and they're not going to do another part of the thing, don't make it a musical chair situation where you're standing up and changing chairs all the time and seats because you're going to do something, he's going to do something. Just sit the person down, let him do something. If he's not doing the next part of it, then you just do it. You're doing it facing north. It's okay. It's not a problem.
Yeah, I don't change places at all. The only time I'll probably change places because we'll do the Kumbha Puja in one place, like, and if you have like, say for instance, Vastu Puja, and then we worship like the Yantra, and we worship like, we do Punya Havachanam and Ganapati Puja, and then you have so many other deities, Dashtik Palaks, etc. that you worship. So we do that like in a mandala kind of setting. And then we do the Homa, a little bit away from that, but facing the mandalas and the kumbhas, etc. like that. So that's like the only time we'll probably change positions when we go to sit for the Homa.
Yeah, and once again, you're doing very complex rituals, so you are a competent person. You know how to do it. And there's no need even to ask because it's a very small thing, and I think it's not. You can do it as you like.
Yeah, the difference is that unless you don't see, people actually do, and then you're just reading from a book, you're never really totally 100% certain that you're right how to do it.
Okay. So number one, in books, it'll probably say, in prayogas, it'll probably say, face east or north. It'll probably say that. But then again, is the procedure in the book taking into consideration you're doing it for somebody else? Maybe not. Okay. So then when you see people do it, okay, maybe they're doing it for somebody else, so that it's nice to see people do it for somebody else. But at the same time, not every puja that you see is done correctly. I can show you pujas. I can show you plenty of pujas that I've done with full of mistakes. And I can show you pujas even done by, great bhattacharyas, okay? People, great people who I have total respect for, and I can point out mistakes. Even in the Vishvaksena discussion, we were pointing out some spelling mistakes in the prayoga. So there's always things like that. I think even Tiran Ryan, he was mentioning that he was doing one class and they were using a text, and he said the last page of the text was full of mistakes. You know, it was written by some great scholar, but somehow or other, before he could completely edit it at the end. So sometimes people write things and they're in draft form and they're full of mistakes, and other times they got mistakes and then they need to be corrected. The mistakes sometimes in the beginning of books you'll find a thing, or in the beginning or end you'll find an extra pages or two are printed in the book called a Shuddhipatra or Shuddhapatra, and it shows you the words and lines and different things like that which have been printed by the printing press. See, it's not like they were doing things with physical type before we had word processors and even typewriters, and so they wouldn't necessarily get everything correct in every edition. There are mistakes in editions of books. See, that's the other thing. You're trying to study a prayoga, which is written, which is not written. Probably you're not studying from the exact manuscript. You're not studying the handwritten prayoga, but you're studying a printed book, which is printed by some printing press, and they make mistakes. The people who typeset it make mistakes all the time, and even today with word processing, people make mistakes. So you have to overcome the mistakes first. Then you have to overcome the mistakes in the video. You have to overcome that, and that means you have to see a lot of weddings, see a lot of samskaras, and then you get the idea. Oh, okay. Then you see, well, what did this person do that was quite different, and then investigate. Was there a reason why he did it? Maybe he's more knowledgeable and he's doing a proper thing, that priest. Maybe he's less knowledgeable and he just doesn't know that he shouldn't do it like that. Or maybe he just made a mistake. So, like I said, it's an ocean, and to go into that much detail is not really required for most people. Most people just to get the general idea of the steps of the ceremony, and they have a generalized idea. It's like, it's like the difference between being a cook in the house and a cordon bleu, 3-star Michelin star chef in a restaurant. You have to really know your thing and very, very exacting details. So it's good. I'm glad if people are very much into the details and they want to do everything correctly like that. But we also, if the only ceremony we did was the perfect ceremony, it's very very difficult to find a perfect ceremony. Everything's perfect. That's why we should always at the end pray for some forgiveness for any mistakes in the procedure or the prayoga or the chanting, whatever. Yeah, because there's going to be some mistakes. Yeah, the idea is to have less mistakes than somebody else, or less mistakes than.
I have another question about Ajya Samskara and Agnimukham, according to Krishna Yajurveda. And
whoa. According to Krishna Yajurveda, which sutra?
Oh, no idea. It's Rami's book.
There you go. So it's probably Apastamba. Okay.
Homa Sangraha.
Just remember. Okay. So you want to ask something about Homa Sangraha, or what page?
It's on page number 12, according to the copy I have, which is 2014 version.
Did you say Homa Sangraha?
Yes.
You have a 2014 version? Okay, I'm just going to pull up 2017 version.
Oh,
and what page are you saying?
I have page number 12, which is Ajya Samskara in Agnimukham.
Yeah, it's on page, looks like page 13 in this one. You're looking at Aja Samskar. Okay, so let's just
I just wanted to
share that screen. This?
Yes.
That's what we're talking about. Oh, okay.
So the one I have that says the ghee is purified in this manner. First check to see that there's no impure thing in it, which is normal. A purvitri made of 2 darba blades is passed through it. So we are tying basically a pavitra knot in 2 darba blades. That's what it's saying, right?
Correct.
So 2 darba blades is passed through it.
Yes.
While holding with the thumb and ring finger.
Yes.
And then the knot is released and the pavitra is thrown into the fire. A coal or burning stick is removed from the fire and placed to the southeastern direction. So in the kund itself, you're going to just take some of that burning wood, coal, and you're going to place it just in the southeast part of the kund, or you're not going to place it outside of the kund, obviously. Because
this is called Triyat Purya, okay? So what you do, and that's what you say when you're doing it, but that's just the directions, okay? What you're doing is you're taking the darba, and you make you take 2 darbas and tie them in a pavitra and hold them with 2 hands like that and pass them like this. You pass them from the back to the front through the ghee 3 times.
Mm-hmm. Great.
So and then then you release the knot and you throw that in the fire. Release that in the fire. Then it says a coal or burning stick is removed from the fire and placed in the southeast. The ghee vessel is placed upon, and so you take out with you have some tongs, or you have some way like that wooden hand thing, and you take it out. You take out some burning coal. You put the ghee vessel next to the burning coal so that the ghee is warmed up a little bit, right? Then you take 2 blades of darba, or 1 blade of darba, I think 2. You take 2, you ignite that in the fire, wave it around clockwise 3 times around it. Some people dip it in at the end to the ghee. It's flaming, it's burning, and it'll go out when you put it in the ghee if you do that. And then waved around. Okay. The Aja Samskar is then purified by showing the Dena Mudra. The coal is returned. Okay, so let's get this right. In a Vaidika Agni Mukham, probably you won't see any mudras. Okay?
Right.
Right, because the mudras are more tantric thing. So he says so Dena Mudra. Fine, show Dena Mudra. That's fine. You could do Soshana Dahana Plavana and Dena Mudra if you want, which we discussed before. So anyway, he says Dena Mudra. The coal is then returned to the fire. Yes, if the darba is not available, then you can show 5 purificatory mudras. I have no idea what he means by 5 purificatory mudras, and he didn't explain it, so we can ask him. I believe I have a video of this going on, so I will show you. Yeah, okay, so you got the Purohit here. You've got the Yajamana here. Okay? And the Purohit is going to use, he's using these small leaf plates for Pranita Patras and for Aja Patras, for keeping the ghee and for keeping water and different things in it. So listen now. He's going to establish the ghee. That's the Prokshani Patra. Now, he said Aja Patra Nidaya, which means he's going to add the ghee to the thing. So there's his ghee in there. So now he took out some, he's taken out some, see, took out some burning bits, right? Now he's going to take some darba, 2 darbas, cuts the darba. You don't do it with your fingernails, right? He puts a couple of darbas in there. Let's see. We're going to see the tree or Surya in a second, I think. Okay, so okay, maybe there was another one that was better than that, but it'll be similar in Bodhayana.
I'm amazed at how simple they do it. You know, we make a whole big fuss, and they do it so simply.
Yeah. Yeah, he brought like 3 items.
Yeah, exactly. And we make such a big fuss about this and that.
Yeah.
Big fuss? In what way? In what way?
Oh, I have so much paraphernalia, and I get so many things together. You know, do so many decorations, and and look, they just put the yagyaku, put some wood, and make some ghee, and that's it. They just
That's right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
cut the packet of ghee and pour it into the patra and offer a few drops, and that's it.
Yeah, you'll see the guy on his cell phone later.
Yeah. I
saw
like
going to be on his cell phone. No, he's reading some mantras off his cell phone, I think. Anyway.
Yes.
Yeah, you saw this one, right? You've seen this one before?
I'm only now seeing it. I know you posted it up, but I didn't get a chance to see it until now.
There's another one which I liked, which was good, but I'm not sure if I can find it.
Because the main thing I wanted to ask is, like, I have a really small yagyakun that I use sometimes. I have bigger ones also. So, like, for instance, you don't have much space to take out, coal or anything, and I would usually just put it to the corner of the kun, because you're doing ceremonies in carpeted, closed environments, so you can't really just put it on a piece of wood close to the floor, So I just put it to the corner of the kun, and then I'll take the patra, the ghee patra, and I'll place it on top of that. But I was thinking, for a very small yagyakun, the whole point is that it's heated with the fire. So if you just take it and you put it over the fire, isn't that also as acceptable as a practicality?
Well, yeah, okay, but then if you're holding it over the fire, how can you run the darba around it at the same time?
Well, sometimes you could even hold the patra at your left hand and have the darba, pass the darba at your right hand.
Okay. Whatever. I mean, you either do it exactly the way it said in the prayoga, or you do it some other way, according to your convenience.
Because that's the thing. Because if you have to get a different pot to take that coal out and put it into that, like a little bowl or something, and then you place the ghee patra on top of that, isn't it? That's what the proper thing would be.
Right. See, I was just looking at this because Lakshmana Swami was asking me about Shravata things. I made a list. I made a list of these links of Apastamba Agnihotra. Did you want to talk about Sunday quickly? I'll show you. You've got those charts. So if you want to go over those charts, I can go over it quickly and tell you how to use it.
Well, as you said, we could do it as a private session.
But do you understand how to use that chart?
Not at all.
No?
Don't have a clue how.
Oh,
no, I don't.
That's pretty self-explanatory.
I don't understand how to use it at all.
I think it's pretty self-explanatory here. Let me see where it is.
Swami, you're dealing with a dummy here.
That's why I make puja for dummies.
Prayogs for dummies.
Yeah. Okay, so let's.
What I was going to ask you was about the Agni mantra, the Vedic Agni mantra, in the same prayoga.
The Vedic Agni mantra.
Yeah, he gives Om Chatvari Shanka Trayosya Pada Dveshirashe Sapta Hastasyosya. So he gives 2 mantras. He gives like a Puranic mantra. And
hang on.
That's well, I have it on page 13. So it might be around the same thing.
I'm going to find it now. Where is it? Homa Sangraha. Okay. It comes Agni Dhyana.
Yeah, okay. Agnir Dhyanam. And he gives a Puranic style one, and then he gives a Vedic one.
Share screen. Yes, this. Correct?
Oh, okay, yes. Yeah, I see in my book, it's like, what I was looking at was Vijay Yamanasa. but in my book he has double S, and I was wondering if that's
Where?
in the Vedic mantra, in the fourth line. Savija
In the fourth line.
Yamanasa. Yes. Savija Yamanasa.
This.
Yes, I was wondering if that's pronounced differently, like sha, or is it just Savija Yamanasa? Because I have it.
That S here is a Visarga. It's been changed to an S.
Right, so it's already adjusted. So it's Savija Yamanasa. Janishyamana pratyan mukha astishtati vishvato mukha.
Okay, normally you would understand that if it doesn't have either a danda or a double danda, right? In between, there's in between each word and internally in the word, and in between each word there's going to be, for instance, we could make that's Upadmaniya. That's going to be an Upadmaniya, right? But he's not showing Jivamuli and Upadmaniya, but I can.
Yeah. So Sarvaf Purvo. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. So, but if there's a danda coming in between there, in between those two letters, if there's a danda, then this will not be Upadmaniya.
It'll be Sarvaha.
And if there's a danda coming in between these two letters, this will be a Visarga. Okay?
Okay, Vijaya. Okay.
Right. Yeah, but you should think if it's in a proper form, it should have Sandhi. It'll have all the Sandhis done. But the thing is, this may not be a compulsory Sandhi. Some Sandhis are compulsory and some are optional. So if you see something that's optional, it's optional. You can say it either way.
Okay, and the other part of the other one is offering Akshata in 8 directions.
Where is that?
That's just the next part after this. I guess it'll be the next page for you.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it says offer Akshata in 8 directions around the kun beginning in the east. So then he says 8 directions, and then he gives more than 8 mantras. So usually what I do, I'll just offer to the center where it says Shri Yagya Purushaya.
Okay, so here we have starting in the east. So Om Agnaya Namaha, Om Jataveda Se Namaha. That's going to be east. It's going to be southeast.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And we get
and then south.
Om Saho. He doesn't put Om and Namaha. Right?
Yes.
Om Sahoja Se Namaha. Om Ajira Prabhe Namaha. Right? So that's south. That's going to be southwest. Right?
Mm-hmm.
That's going to be west.
West.
Vaishvaranaya. Yeah. Vaishvaranaya. And then Om
Northwest.
Naryapase. Yes, northwest. Then Om Pankti Radase. North.
North.
Right. Then Om Vishwapine. Vishwapine. Northeast. Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
You're coming back.
And then
this one in the fire.
Right. That's what I thought.
But
and all the rest.
But I want to mention here. Okay, strictly speaking, these 8 around the fire are with akshata. That means rice mixed with turmeric or kumkum, right? The red rice or yellow rice. The Yagya Purushaya one is supposed to be technically with only pure rice, not colored rice, and you put it in the fire.
Okay, so is it white, just plain white rice, or are you talking about
plain
charu?
Plain white rice, not charu, not cooked rice.
Okay,
uncooked rice. Yeah. Okay. So I'll have to ask somebody about that, but I know that's a rule. That's a little technicality, but I have to ask why. I don't know why, so don't ask me why. Okay. Then Atmane Namaha is what? On yourself.
So we throw rice on ourselves.
Yeah, put something on your head. Put one on your head.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, like good.
Sarvebhya Sri Vaishnavebhyo Namaha.
To the assembled Vaishnavas.
Assembled Vaishnavas, and there's also going to be some assembled Brahmins.
Assembled Brahmins.
They may be the same people. But anyway.
Great.
1, 2 to everybody around you. Okay? Now.
And this will also be the same white rice, obviously.
That's a good question. I think the white rice is just into the fire. I think the rest of it is with akshata.